very pumped for more long Twitter threads tomorrow about everyone's updated state of Monday Night Raw. Just exciting stuff, guys. Can't believe we did that. Damn. We did that duck show, bro. And I concluded it and was like, Samoa Joe, your choice, bro. Like, decide whether wrestling lives or not. And then, like, within a week, like, he's seemingly just retired and back at the Capitol Wrestling Center. Like, what an elite dunk that is. He's literally just signaled to me, end wrestling now. Like, make it stop. So what I say?
When I texted you about it, I think I might have just put it on Twitter. I was like, so we're going to kill wrestling? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, so you saw my thing on Patreon. I quickly adjusted and was like, and now it's just sad because it feels like Joe's just retired, which is like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm not a scoop, so I don't know the situation, and if he's on NXT tomorrow as the GM, I actually think it's kind of worth doing a Thursday segment about like Joe's career, because fuck, it'd be nice to talk about something we like. But it really does feel like, the last couple of months he's come to a conclusion that I don't think he initially had, which is a real shame. But we'll say it's not the conversation today. Folks, how are you? We've got 17 pals already here. JJ, Riley, Louis. Good evening all. We're here to review 2 wrestling shows that I definitely watched. I have notes on them to prove it. This will probably not be our most joyous podcast, but like, what at this point? Does anyone expect that? This show just is increasingly downtrodden. So what are you gonna do? How's it filling in? Should we go with In Your House first, because that's probably the one people want to actually like listen to more, or is
we're going in order?
We're going in order?
Yeah.
Is a ladder match on Raw? Or is that... Oh, you're joking, right?
I don't care. I don't watch Raw. Let them put whatever the fuck they want on Raw, honestly.
Baseball's Best says, I'm kind of worried about the Nets. Also, can Joseph be the booker for Impact? Because I don't want to see Sammy in the main event.
The Nets are... They can lose one and be okay. They don't have both guys. That's an issue.
I'm very anxious about all of this. I'm very anxious. I was so resigned to defeat that I'm not sure I like us losing our safety net of the Nets being fucked. Very scary, because now it kind of feels
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be losing to that Bucks team, but like, they're a good team. I've always said that, right? Like,
yeah.
You and I both thought the Bucks Nets series would be a bloodbath. We always did. We were shocked. But we didn't talk about it much. But we both thought it would be like a 6-7 game series. So when the Nets went 2-0 up, we were both just like, "Whoa, this is weird."
They went up 2-0, where the first 2 games were just blowouts essentially,
right.
And then the third game was just a disaster zone. Like, that game sucked. That was one of the worst games of the playoffs, honestly. But the Bucks came out with it, and then yesterday it seemed like it was shaping up to be a good game. And then Kyrie got hurt, and everything kind of changed. And now it's like, I mean, the Bucks are in the driver's seat because the team around Durant ain't great. And obviously that's by design. You have 3 other stars. You don't need this great team to be around them, but it's just not a great team. And so, yeah, the Bucks, they got to win this series. Like, if because Kyrie's going to miss Game 5, I think Harden and Kyrie are done for this series. I really think that. Based on just the way they're talking, it sounds like they're done for this series.
That's big. That's super big, because this felt like their year to win it, because they are all older guys with their own injury issues. Like, it's dramatic. This is a big moment. Chris Paul, if it ain't going to be Philly, we all want it to be Chris Paul, right? We got, we need, like, it would be an amazing moment. This feels like it's open for him, man. It really does. It feels like... we'll see. That team's not perfect, obviously, but they're playing beautiful basketball, and he's obviously...
I was talking to my friend, and I was like, if the Nets are... Let's say the Nets are in this form, and... I mean, if they make it to the finals and they're healthy, then it's fucked. But if the Nets are in this form, like, I'm favoring Phoenix over any team left right now. And maybe that's reactionary because they just swept the Nuggets, but, like, they look good against the Lakers. Chris Paul, his shoulder... he looks healthy, and he's about to get like 10 days off, right? So, like, I favor them against any team that's left right now.
I can't disagree, man, because I mean, you said about like the shoulder, and it's for much of the Lakers series, he couldn't score the ball at all.
Yeah.
So now that it's like they're strengthened by that because now they've got Chris Paul back playing the way he was. They're formidable, playing great basketball, and I think we all secretly are rooting for them. Obviously, I've got a dog in the fight, so it's. I'm very anxious to see how far we can get if the Nets indeed are like doomed the way they appear to be. But it's wide open. It seems to be wide open. Considering the state of the Suns 3 years ago, it'd be real impressive to see them. Dude, considering the state of them like 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, before the bubble, they strung those games together in the bubble. And it was like, that was impressive. But still, I don't think anyone had them locked in for a 2 seed. Like, that's outrageous.
No, credit to them of Chris Paul was out there. Everyone knew Chris Paul was out there after the OKC season. And they went out and got him. I think it was a big miss by Milwaukee not to I understand why they wanted Drew and everything. Like, they gave up more for Drew than Phoenix gave up for Chris Paul. Like, dude, OKC would have taken that. OKC would have taken that trade in a heartbeat. Bledsoe, which whatever, he was just dead cap and just play him, and then. It was like 2 first-round picks and then 2 swaps. Like, you think OKC wanted all those first-round picks? They would have taken that in a heartbeat. And, dude, the Bucks are a better team if they have Chris Paul over Jrue Holiday. And I really like Jrue Holiday. He hasn't been great in the playoffs. I don't think that's, I'm not going to compare him to Eric Bledsoe and be like, oh, well, that was a miss. They should have just kept Bledsoe. But they could have really benefited from Chris Paul over Jrue Holiday right now.
It would change their whole half-court offense, which is still...
Which sucks. Yeah, exactly. Did you see that stat of, they have the least amount of passes in, the modern era or some shit?
I like when Giannis, sizes guys up, one-on-one, and it's like, I don't know, man.
Dude.
He has his spin move, it's... I don't know. They're a weird team. I fear them because, physically, they've got so many tools. When you watch them, they're not, blow-away to me. They have those games where everyone makes their shots. I get that. But generally, they're not I don't know. I guess we'll see how this... I mean, as you said, they're in the driver's seat now, so we'll see.
Do we get to wrestling now?
Apparently, JJ's sent 100 bits. He says, Impact Against the Odds is a decent show. Sammy Omega, I'm excited for.
Why?
And already a good angle towards Slammiversary. Okay. We'll review that now, JJ, because you've done 100 bits and definitely not because we were going to do it anyway. Against all odds, folks, the last one of these Impact specials was not a wonderful time for me. I broke this one up into several pieces. Where is Matt Striker?
He's been gone for a while, Joseph.
Why?
He's doing other shit.
Why have they reminded me of the scars of the Josh Matthews man?
He missed the last tapings, so he's missed the last few tapings, last few shows. Why don't you watch the product?
I don't watch television personally.
Fair.
The Good Brothers open up here against the Tommy Dreamer and the Sami Callihan man. Should I? I mean, I'll do it. I'll review it. But you heard the names. You know what this probably looks like, right? They lock up. The babies then are they're going to brawl because they're both brawling men. And Josh Matthews talks about they're tough guys because they are tough. Jeremy, you see. They get the weaponry gimmicks. Tommy Dreamer hits. He takes the ring bell hammer thing and hits Kyle Anderson in the dick. And then the baby faces walk off and bring a new set of weapons, which is basically just trash cans, which look like shit always, but they make good sound. So I guess whatever. Cole cuts Dreamer off, and they kind of beat him up a little bit. Every Tommy Dreamer match is somehow built around him being shit. Here he is, he's shit again. He's the weak link. So they isolate him. Everyone hits a cutter to reset things. And then they're pinning Dreamer, and Sammy hits the referee. And Josh Matthews says, there are no rules, so I guess you can assault the referee. Sure.
Fair.
Yeah. And then the Gallows and the Anderson, they go to get a table. They hit Magic Killer through it on the Thomas Dreamer. Tommy does the Devon Dudley shake sell, not Shake Milton, where he just actually shivers. And then Sammy breaks up the pin again, just hits both guys with the bat and wins. So, yeah. It was fine. Jeremy, you watched this match very closely. What did you think of it?
It was fine.
It was fine. Joe Doring and Satoshi Kojima in one of the weirdest Impact Plus empty arena spectacles in history of wrestling. Super cool match, like
it
just
was.
on poster alone, and it was a good match. Then neither guy is obviously what they were. It's correct, right? And you know, for different reasons, and both guys are older, but like they still have enough know-how to get through it. And in Kojima's case, like he's just still kind of awesome. Like he's just great. So I have no complaints about this. They eased into things. They did the traditional like shoulder tackle deal, and they quickly established the point of the match, which is like Kojima's outgunned, but he's smart. So like he does the shoulder tackle deal, and instead of doing it again, he just like treads on Doran's foot, and he gets some success. Joe Doran cuts him off anyway. He's clubbing him. He grabs a Boston Crab. It's extended the heat. Like he's just beating him up, basically. Kojima then does the machine gun chop gimmick. Does his elbow drop.
The machine gun chops, I don't know what to think of them, but they rule.
They do. Well, it's because he does, like, so when Kobashi would do them, he would do the thing with his left hand, but his face was never quite as animated as Kojima.
Yeah.
Kojima really, like, hams it up. He's great.
And the way everyone sells it, they sell it like he's just like getting dug into their chest, and they're like,
Kingston did it in the Young Bucks match. Did you see he actually did it for a moment or two there? It is one that the cell will shape just how fun it really is. You got to embrace the wackiness, definitely. Joe Doran is probably not the guy for that job, but it's still fun. You know, Kojima's got himself into this now, so he can trade some strikes for a bit, but it is very brief. Doran cuts off again, big spine buster. They fight to the floor. At this point, Rhino gets involved and Kojima shoots him off, and it's like, wow. Kojima shoots off Rhino in the empty Impact Studios here in 2021. What a time this is to be alive, folks. He hits a DDT for 2. Doran comes back with that awesome crossbody where he just kills guys with it. It looks so great. Then Koji Kata, they go back and forth a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. Sit out powerbomb. Classic Japanese finish, to be honest with you. Hits one big move. Kojima kicks out barely, picks him up, hits his finish. Away they go with the power bomb. Not electric, not a classic. Wasn't supposed to be. Just two smart pros knowing exactly the style of match they wanted to have, and doing it well enough that there was actually some drama for a match that obviously like had no consequences and was just a match. It was cool. It was a cool little moment in the Impact catalogue that they can tweet out when these guys wrestle at WrestleMania in 2030. You like this one, Jeremy?
I enjoyed this match. I like Joe Doring's eyes.
Yeah, I do too. I just like Joe Doring.
Yeah,
he's good.
He's good. I enjoyed this match.
The Decay talked about something, and then we moved to a 5-way. A 5-way. I am done with 5-ways after this review. I'll never review another 5-way. It's an X Division number one contenders match. This is fine. I'm messing. It's good. So's the other one, but you know, limits. Define good. Ace Austin, Chris Bay, Rohit Raju, Pete Williams, Trey Miguel. Okay. Austin and Trey pair off, the other three stay in the ring. They do this cool deal where they kind of like, if you actually remember what happened in Impact, which for some reason I did, they kind of utilize the history between Bay and Rohit, which is cool. Pete, he kicks ass regardless, beats them both up. He looks very, very good, it must be said. So does the Ace Austin, man. He does some spectacular stuff. And Trey follows suit, does a big dive. They do this great little sequence on the apron. Then they do the old dueling submission spot with Trey and Pete, I want to say, and they're like trading strikes while they're both hooking submissions. Rohit is the spare man, which is really good little character spot for him. Whoever produced these matches does a good job of giving him some personality, because he comes in and gets control, and he does his own but like cool moves, but there's a lot of shtick scattered throughout which fits him. The Chris Bay man, I actually in my notes have a lot of praise for, but he like put over Karrion Kross, so maybe not. But like, I really like this guy. I think he has an immense presence, and I like the way it pairs with his actual flashiness in the ring. There's a charisma to him that I like. However, he needs to stop tweeting about Karrion Kross. Ace Austin is not as exciting to me, but he is equally a very, very good prospect. he does like a double Fame Master deal in this match, which is pretty neat. What have we got here? Petey does a Canadian Destroyer off the top, not for the finish, which rules, because I swear, I feel like Petey tweets at least once a week about people killing his finisher, and then he done it off the top and didn't win with it, so, it's all wow. But no one kicked out. It was, the pin was broke out. It's a 5-way. And then Madman Fulton did like a horror movie deal where he like emerged from nowhere, and then he killed everyone, including a move where he legitimately hit like 4 guys at the same time.
It was like a double choke slam, power bomb,
cool, right?
Power slam.
Like actually cool, wasn't it? Like,
yeah.
Whoever's idea it was, it looked awesome, and it didn't even feel like, obviously it's contrived. He's holding 4 guys, but it felt like kind of authentic and real. Like it was good. It's very well done.
It was way less contrived than like some of the spots El Phantasmo was doing in those matches where he was in.
Yeah, I don't get. I just, when you said that, I thought of one in the NXT that was from the opener, which is just I find some of that stuff so funny. Like I like that there are some guys that just don't get any knock for it. It pots me, but the one you're talking about, Phantasmo, where he walked around the ropes on Impact a few weeks ago, and it's like it doesn't bother me. Like I think it's fine. It's wrestling, right? It's all
yeah. I'm with you. Of like,
it is like shit, man. That's really pushing the boundaries of it,
I'm with you. Of like, it looked cool, and I thought it was actually kind of fun. But the last little bit where he does like the Hurricane Rana or whatever, and I think it's like Ace Austin just like sitting there and be like, yes, please just throw your legs over me. I'm like, all right, come on.
It's interesting in Impact too, because like when I review these, I realise like Impact's pretty traditional in terms of their structure of matches. Like they're very, and I like to mean this as a compliment, like they're very by the book, which makes it even funnier when they do something as wacky as that, because I guess like they're not going to stop El Phantasmo, right? Like he's a guest, do your thing, man, do your cool moves, whatever. See, that spot that I was talking about was really great, but then like I don't know how I feel about the finish. So I know the instincts are the finish sucks, and like it kind of does, but I kind of like the referee just like, no, I'm not going to do this, you asshole. This is a no contest. You just beat up 4 guys. You're not going to just... I kind of like that. I like the referee actually having some kind of, some professionalism. I don't know if it's an ideal thing to end a 5-way with a no finish, but like, it's logical, right? And JJ says he assumes it'll be them 5 versus Josh, Ultimate X, Slammiversary. And, and that works. I think Josh is kind of wasted in those matches, because to me, he can have really wonderful singles matches that go 20, but like I also get Slammiversary is an anniversary thing, and you've got, the X division is famous for the Ultimate X, so okay, I'm fine with that. I had no problem with the finish. It was a cool match.
I'm fine with the Joel Pearl is saying King of the Mountain.
Oh fuck! Well, in that case, no.
Why would they do King of the Mountain instead of Ultimate X for the X division title? That'd be kind of weird, right? Like, it should be Ultimate X.
King of the Mountain is outrageous.
King of the Mountain fucking rules.
It does, but like there's just no need for these 5 guys, like it's too much. But anyway.
I want to run it with Paige. What? Who's Paige? Am I missing something? Rampage? Diamond Dallas Page? Oh, Ethan Page. It's like, huh? Oh, they were going to do King of the Mountain at the TNA Throwback show. They were going to do Ultimate X on that show as well. I feel like it should be Ultimate X. If it's King of the Mountain, I'm actually fine with that. I like King of the Mountain. I'm one of those guys. Even though it's a ladder match. Fuck that. But
when we get to that show, you can review that match. I'll take it.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to set up a multi-man match. I don't like non-finishes in number 1 contender. Like, they just did this shit on NXT. It's like, oh, it's a 3-way. Here comes Adam Cole running in, breaking it up. Oh, well, now we're going to do a 5-way for the fucking title to headline our pay-per-view. It's the same thing here. It's a 5-way. Let's have a non-finish. Well, now we're going to do a 6-way for the title. It's just dumb. It's stupid.
It's fine. Let's not talk about NXT for a while. Okay, we'll get there.
It's not fine, Joseph. It's stupid.
It's fine. Who cares? It's all shit. Rich Swann, W. Morrissey. How do I tackle this without being rude? If you was ever wondering how much Rich Swann could get out of, like, just an archetype of wrestler, just like, here is Monster Man. Can Rich Swann make it good? Here is your answer, because he can. He's very good. I like Rich Swann. W. Morrissey has already gotten better, so I'm not going to diss him. I think he's already got better at this role. This is definitely bold, though. Pushing him like this, considering what I assume Impact's audience is, I think is really... I don't want to say insane, but it's questionable, man. I don't know. Anyway, they get Morrissey's power advantage over. He sends Swann to the floor. Josh Matthews says, physically, this looks like Mayweather versus Paul. But skill-wise, it's not, because Rich Swann is a great wrestler.
What?
I think that makes it even more like Mayweather Paul. If you're going to do it, that helps your case, Josh. But anyway, you know.
Yeah, shouldn't it have been, but Morrissey is a great wrestler?
It doesn't make no sense. Swann is a really scrappy baby face. Always enjoy him. You know, he's biting, he's scratching, he's clawing, he's doing whatever he can to just kind of get involved in the match. And they do a neat little kind of role reversal deal where, so when Swann was bumped to the floor, you know, Morrissey's he's imposing, right? He just stands there and takes his time. But when the shoe is on the other foot, Swann is desperate. He jumps on him with a dive, and it's a neat little kind of contrast deal that captures both guys' roles and the differences between them. But it's all short-lived. I mean, Morrissey fires back at every turn. He kicks him out of the air. Josh Matthews says he looks like 4. D'Lo agrees. The heat is on, man. Morrissey goes after Swann's back, and he does a pretty good job. He's pretty sinister here. There was less just sort of like shitty walking around. He actually had some spark here, man. I thought he did a pretty good job of being nasty and intense. I liked it. Swann eventually makes a comeback, and he does a really neat job of like ensuring that he uses his wackiest, most unorthodox offense to kind of which puts over Morrissey just by the idea of it, right? The idea that he needs to go that deep in his arsenal makes Morrissey seem even more badass. So, like, for example, it's messy, it doesn't look great, but he does like a 450 off the apron. He does a Phoenix Splash gimmick. Eventually, Morrissey catches him, sits up, and does an F5. At which point, Bob O'Neill cries and doesn't know why. But Swann keeps fighting, he rallies again, he's caught again. There's one point where he gets just like big booted in the back out of the air, which is like, man, fuck, sure, like Swann was working hard in there, man. And he did the defiant finish where he like flipped him off to get power bombed for the end. I don't know where Swann goes from here. This is not the most complimentary booking after losing the heavyweight title, but like he did it as well as he could have. I worry about where you put Morrissey on the card without killing your kind of momentum, whatever that even is at this point. But it was cool. I liked the match. I think it was probably one of Morrissey's better matches that I've seen. I mean, I like his Bryan match too, one of them anyway. I don't know. You see this, Jeremy?
I mean, I had it on screen. How much I paid attention to it is a different thing. Morrissey's very big. He hits very hard. He was very bumpy, and thought Swann did the best he could.
Bumpy, yeah?
Yeah.
I noticed. Okay, Morrissey Moose would make sense. Maybe.
Morrissey and Moose. I feel like they just want to push Morrissey. Like at this point, I almost feel like he's the guy to take the title. Are they gonna beat Moose next? Maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, like now you beat Swann, he's like a top 5 guy.
Yeah, he was just your world champion.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I kind of think it's an odd play for them, but we shall see. So, Deonna and her pals cut a promo. Do you think the Impact view is going to go back down when Omega stops showing up? Has it gone up?
No.
Oh, well, in that case, I hope not, because that'd be very bad.
I will tell you, I just posted about the Impact viewership because Brandon Thurston, WrestleNomics, got a lot of the viewership numbers while Showbuzz Daily has been down, which is a very, it's been a big loss in the wrestling community, Showbuzz. So, when did Omega win the title?
April, mid-April, somewhere around there.
All right, so like they started off at 168 when they moved to Thursdays. That was April 8th. The last show, which was last Thursday, did 125. They were down to 109 May 20th, 112 May 13th. They were up in the 140s May 27th and June 3rd. So, like, they're kind of just hovering around, like, averaging 120, more or less. Like, that's just kind of where they're slotted right now.
It's a relevancy play more than a TV. Like, it could be, unless it's The Rock, dude. They're probably going to cap out like 150. You know, like,
Yeah.
It's just nothing. There's no wrong with it. It's just, it is what it is. There's so much wrestling on television. The main promotion does 3 shows on TV a week. Like, it's hard. It's just hard. It's very simple. I don't think it's an issue of.
I mean, you look at like even NXT. Like, NXT moved to a new night, and they're doing less viewers than they were doing on Wednesdays. Yeah. It's just, I think Kenny Omega actually put it pretty well. It's like, dude, there's so much wrestling on now. Yeah. Literally every single day of the week has a show, and Omega's like, we weren't fighting for Wednesdays. Like, we're fighting for the week. Because you can eat, if you miss something on Monday, okay, you can watch wrestling on Tuesday. If you miss something on Tuesday, you can watch something on Wednesday. It's just like an Impact. Unfortunately, their place in line is they're 5th out of 5th on the day of the week.
Yeah,
and people are just, after you've already watched Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you might, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you might just want to skip Thursday and then be like, all right, I'll watch SmackDown on Fox. So it's just tough.
At least Omega has changed, enhance their pay-per-view business, because people want to see his big matches. So like, even this special, I got around to watching his match today, and like, it was the only thing that got spoiled for me was his match. Like, he at least has a certain level of stature that I think it's enhanced the promotion. But again, we don't need to do that debate again, because good lord, I've had that explained to me 101 times over. No need for it. Tenille Dashwood, the Jordan Grace, Josh Matthews contrast their social media usage early in this one. Jeremy, your thoughts?
I think both of them post kind of similar stuff on social media, don't they?
You're disagreeing with Josh Matthews. I wouldn't do that.
I don't know what Josh Matthews actually said. What did he say?
Listen, look at their social medias, man. Like, different people. All
right, let me go to Tenille Dashwood on Twitter. I know Jordan Grace posts like a lot of pictures of her in like bikinis and stuff, and she's plugging her OnlyFans, and I actually think Tenille has the more wholesome of the social media.
Wholesome.
Yeah, Joel Pearl knows. He follows both of them on Twitter. I don't.
Okay. Let's not get into this any further. This is dangerous. So, it's very simple. We have a simple tale here of notorious perverts in the chat right now. I'm Crackerjack.
Where's O'Neal at? Where's
O'Neal? One of these people to murder him before. I don't know about. I don't know if you've ever seen Jordan Grace wrestle, but I'm sure he'd like to murder him too. Anyway, it's speed versus power, folks. Now, is Tenille Dashwood particularly quick? Not really. She actually kind of was here though, so there you go, victory. Jordan appeared to almost knock her out cold with a slam. It's very scary. She ensured that she was fine and then swung her around in a chicken wing because Jordan Grace fucking rules. She's great. She does this really good deal early on where she, like, every time she does something with success, she'll, like, look over at Rachel Ellering and, like, see, like, I'm pretty good at wrestling too, you know? And, like, you know where it's ending up. You know that eventually something's happening with Rachel Ellering and it's going to be a problem. But it doesn't seem that way yet in this match. It's just like, she's just trying to show, like, I can do shit on my own too. It's cool. Now, this is an interesting gimmick, especially because they use it for the cutoff. Because the heels actually utilise Rachel's presence to take Grace out, double team while the ref looks over at Ellering. I can't remember how they got there, but they did that, which was neat, because that set the tone for obviously where the finish would naturally end up. Tenille was refreshingly aggressive and alive here, Jeremy. She appeared to enjoy wrestling again, which I must say I can't relate. Things then sort of settled down, but it's all good. Jordan catches the corner crossbody, which is a great spot, but I would not have placed it so close to the Morrissey match because he did it about 18 times in his match. That's just a tiny thing, doesn't matter. They end up back at square one, they trade strikes, all that good stuff. Obviously, Grace gets the better of that. She goes off, she hits all of her cool moves. And then Tenille goes after the shoulders, which stops Jordan from being able to catch her, so then she can hit a crossbody for two. this is good stuff, man. All the work looks good. It's like it's a decent quality. The match is built nicely. The pacing is really good. Like, it's good. You can feel it escalating as it goes. It's a good match. I like it a lot. Now, Jordan Grace with her shoulders damaged is surviving. She's got to clutch the bottom rope just to stay alive. She turns it around, slingshots in, grabs the choke, and then we get to the finish, which, you know, difficult finish to do without coming across silly, but they did a pretty good job. Which is where basically Caleb with a K gets on the apron. He's yanked down by Rachel Ellering, which upsets Jordan, who wants to win on her own, remember? And then she turns around in a small package, and Tenille Dashwood stole it. She actually sold after she won too, which is, you know, which is nice. I appreciate it. Post-match, Jordan Grace just killed Caleb with a K. So, you know, she's very upset at Jordan Grace. She appears to be turning heel. I assume they will do a Slammiversary match where Jordan is like, let me prove I can beat you. That's what I assume. You know, her and Ellering. And then she turns for real. That's what I assume they're doing. But I like it. It's good stuff. I like both her and Ellering. And Tenille Dashwood, when she's like in the arena, is pretty good. And she was in it. She was there. She was in person live. So this was good. I like this match. Jeremy, your thoughts on their different social media usage?
The match was fine. I didn't pay much attention to it. I'm not gonna lie.
It's fair. Is it fair to say the Knockouts is the most developed division in the company? You guess so, yeah. I don't know if it's like a great feat because like their roster just is kind of weird, but yeah, probably the Knockouts division is good. I do like it. I think people overstate its like ceiling. Like they don't have like classics every month, but they do have cool matches and they have a nice amount of like variety in their division, which we'll get to later. I really like the Knockouts title match on this show, which we will get into. X division is strong right now. The only problem with that is I agree with that, but sometimes it feels like some of those guys shouldn't be in the X division anymore. Like it feels like I'm waiting for Bay and Austin to just like leave it behind because they've teased it and then they go back. So anyway, Myers is watching the show with some fella. I don't know who this is. I'm sorry. I just don't know who it is. He's watching the show with someone, and Jake Summing is upset.
It's I don't know who it was.
Sam Beal, Joel Pearl.
Oh, okay.
Good luck, Sam Beal.
Everyone seems to like Sam Beal.
Good, I like him. Kimberly and the Susan. Is it Susie? Susan.
Susan.
Susan now, right?
Yeah.
One of Trey's actual students. Cyclops is better than Logan. Cyclops is better than Logan's exposed himself as being pro Jordan Grace social media, taking a side in the great social media war. They are here to wrestle with the fire and the flavour. This appeared to be a challenging matchup to me because it's all heel and it's like just, I don't know what. I'm going to be honest with you, dude, and I mean this in a nice polite way because she seems like a good professional wrestler. I have no idea like what Kimberly is. I just don't understand like what the character, like who she's supposed to be. I don't understand. I think I get Susan, kind of, but them as a team is like, I don't know what to make of it. But nonetheless, they are facing the fire and the flavour, who I enjoy. I do some comedy, which, you know, how well does comedy go in an empty studio? I think you can figure that one out for yourself. But then they begin to wrestle, and it's quite good. The Hogan and the Kimberly do some stuff. Fake injury spot for the cut off. They get some heat on Tasha. She's really good, man. I think I say this every month, but like
you do.
Tasha Steelz is fucking good. Watch her, like just watch her, guys. She's very, very good. And you forget how good of a babyface she is because she's always working as like the obnoxious heel in the fire and the flavour. And here she was able to be babyface for a little bit and, you know, just show great fire and just good stuff, simple stuff. She's working within a heat segment that isn't exactly high art, but she's just doing a good job. In the end, she hits a Hurricane Rider assault. She brings in Kiera. I appreciated that this was not a traditional hot tag because it wouldn't have fit these two. I feel like the fire and the flavour, they're established to be a certain way, and I thought this did a good job of using that. So basically, rather than like a traditional hot tag, instead of that, it did something more their style, where they basically just transferred the heat and they isolated whoever it was that who fed her, like they isolated her corner and did their double team stuff, which fit them a lot better than just doing like a traditional, let's go, Ricky Morton style deal, which I liked. They ended like big moves and saves and went into the finishing. Much of it looked good. Again, Kimberly, like, she was good in this match. I don't know what she is, but she's good. She was good in the match, man. She's fine. And then
she has a very NXT name, Kimberly.
She's there. She was there, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. She brings in the Susan inexplicably, and eventually that costs her as the Fire and the Flavor get the win. This was better than I expected because it looked like a very, very scary bout on paper. It was actually good. I think Fire and Flavor are ready to go. What that means, no idea. No, I have no clue what that means. Like, I feel like both of them could be singles players. I'm more sold. The reason I like them as a team is Tasha, I think, is a better worker and probably a better straight promo. But Kiera is like, she's charismatic in a way that I feel like adds some sort of dynamite to the presentation. She's also good at both those things. They're both very good. I don't know what it's difficult. They feel like they should be knockouts tag champs forever, but like it's hard when you haven't got, there's not got much opposition. There isn't the Kimberly and the Susie. I mean, I think there's a chance. My pal at Rose Planted was saying to me that they were talking about there's no competition, and she's like, maybe the Iconics. And it's like, maybe the Iconics. I guess like, but then you do that program. It's just hard, It's difficult. Like, we all agree the Knockouts division is good, but it's still hard to have like a really fluid, flourishing women's tag titles to me. And I don't think they've got there yet. But the matches I've seen of theirs, I've really enjoyed. So what can you do?
I mean, the team that they beat, they beat Jordan and Ellering, but it looks like they might split. The other team that they feuded with to like win the titles, they split. Havoc and Nevaeh, like, they just split these teams. So sucks for the Kimberly and Susan. They're gonna split soon, I assume.
I think that Deonna's definitely leaving them behind because in that promo she was like, you got to show you belong, because they never look right next to her anymore.
No,
right?
It's so awkward. Yeah, Deonna doesn't need like anybody next to her, but. Yeah, it's a very awkward looking group.
I'm gonna actually tweet I'm gonna tweet this out because we're about to get to the Deonna match, and I have a lot to talk about.
Really?
I don't think anyone else liked this match because I didn't see anyone talk about it. It was one of my favourite matches of the weekend, and it's like the most basic match, but it's just smart. And I like smart pro wrestling, Jeremy Lambert. Fill time while I tweet a link because I'm an old man and I have to use both my thumbs.
No.
You can't do that shit, right? That's uncomfortable. That's awful. I'm now having to one thumb this shit, bro. This is disgusting. Like, I'm uncomfortable when I'm on the Skype call.
You should have just left it as the silence the entire time.
No, I can't do it.
Why?
It's like a professional. You're not allowed to use dead air. Is the worst kind of air. I mean, that's not true. Bob O'Neill. Bob O'Neill talking about wrestling. Okay, I've got it out there now. See, people are going to click on the link like, oh, he's talking about Deonna, and then it'll be like, violent by design. Okay, it's out there. Is Deonna Purrazzo spelled 2 R's, 2 Z's?
Yeah.
Good job, Jeremy. Okay.
I have to, like, see it. I can't, like, picture it in my head. I can type it out just fine, but, yeah, I can't, like, picture it. 2 R's, 2 Z's. I'm just like, yeah, sure. It sounds right.
Okay, good.
I typed the name enough. You'd think I know. But, again, I got to, like, actually type it out myself.
The Decay versus the Violent by Design men. This is my favourite thing in wrestling right now. This thing where we take Black Taurus and put him in these just like bog standard US television matches in an empty studio. I fucking love it. Not even ironically, I think it's funny. So they do that, and like, here it is again, man. Dina and the Crazy Steve wrestle some. EY just like hates Dina. I don't know why, but he just gets very frustrated with him. At one point, Black Taurus kicks ass, and EY is just like, just tag out, you dork. And he just tags out and brings in Rhino. Rhino and Black Taurus do like a square off. Serious BP dub energy about this match. That's factual. Great point.
Yeah.
Rhino and Black Truth do this thing where they're like, oh man, like the two monsters meet, and Rhino weighs approximately 450 pounds more than Black Truth, which is, the rules of the World Wrestling Federation, as we already know. They have some fun. I had fun. Stevie then comes back in, and the heels take control. It's pretty short-lived, and this is when they just go berserk. I don't know who put this thing together. They was like, fuck it, man, we're just gonna run wild. Because here, Drews makes a hot tag, and Rhino cuts him off. Then they grab a hold on him. Stevie gets a hot tag, and then they build to another hot tag from Black Truth. Sure, they're going after another tag match. I guess that's the way to do it. You just don't do a tag match. Fine, works for me. But the first 6 minutes of it, I like. Throw a bit of house show stuff, which is glorious. They take out Truth. He takes bumps to the floor. EY does a distraction or something. Dana pins the crazy Steve man. It was fine. Your thoughts?
I didn't really pay attention to it.
You didn't?
No.
You didn't pay attention to Violent by Design versus the Decay?
No, I didn't really have. I didn't know Violent by Design was the tag champs. I think someone told me a while ago, because apparently like Ace Austin and Fulton had a match, and then they cashed in their like Battle Royal gimmick, and they won the titles, and I was very confused by this whole thing.
Oh.
Who's in Decay?
Crazy Steve.
Oh.
Black Truce and Rosemary.
Oh. Yeah, I
BP
didn't pay attention to this match.
That's the thing that went under the radar, bro. Is like everyone talks about Omega, but legitimately, like they got the tag titles off Finjuice by cashing. That's super whack. Like that's really lame. But whatever. I don't care. No one cares. Anyway, it's a good match. Good's too strong. I'm telling you, the way they produce these shows. This is a good show, guys. My energy's low because I hate wrestling, but it's seriously like there's the worst matches on here are fine, and there's some stuff that's really good. The way they produce their matches, dude, like we could do Jeremy and I versus like Joel Pearl and Ray Callahan, and we could have like a 2-star match. Like it's sound, man. They're good at what they do. Anyway, Steve Macklin did a vignette. It was good. I like Steve Macklin. I'm rooting for him. I hope Wesley Blake follows him soon. I don't think he's going to, but I hope so.
I really like Steve Macklin. I've listened to a lot of interviews. He comes off, he comes off very well, and I'm rooting for him as well. I hope he does well in Impact, and it seems like he's gonna have the creative freedom, and sometimes that can be good, sometimes that can be bad. But I'm rooting for him. I think he'll do well.
It seems like. He's not a guy though that's like gonna have these daring, creative. I think he just wants to be like sound wrestler guy, right? Like,
yeah.
They say some stuff you kind of go, oh god, in promos, like not in a Jackson Riker sense. I mean in the sense of like allusions to WWE and this and that. You might sometimes roll your eyes, but he seems like he just wants to prove a point.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'll never forget. Alex Shelley referred to him as one of the best workers in the business once. So, I mean, he's a really nice guy. Maybe he's just being nice, but like that's pretty wild.
What does Alex Shelley know?
Who he ever beat. Yeah. Anyway, the Rosemary, the Deonna Purrazzo, this is one of my favourite matches of the weekend. I really like this match, and I will explain why. Before I go any further, I think Rosemary's very good. However, I may not talk about it because I'm somewhat in awe of the Deonna Purrazzo, Jeremy. I'm a little bit startled at just how good she is, and like the nuance, the stuff she does, really truly impresses me. So, they brought the bell, and obviously this suits Rosemary, and she takes advantage. She does a suplex on the ramp, and immediately Deonna's in trouble, right? They do this great little spot, where Deonna, she thinks about breaking at the count out, and then, as a smart champ, she bows, right? Like she can take a count out loss. So Rosemary chases after her, and it's just, she baits her. She baits her in, she turns around, boom, she cuts off that's her cut-off spot. Like, just a simple spot, but it was really good shit. She doesn't just like pull the arm and yank it a little bit or do some dumb shit. No, she doesn't do that. She like ties it within the ring post, kicks it. All of this looks awesome, man. Like it's just a good spot, but it's executed perfectly. The assault on the arm is always good from Deonna. She's just really good at it. She has different ways of doing it. It's always smart the way that she'll like do it in counters. If you're not watching closely, you may think she's doing the same match because, like, that's her thing, right? But that's kind of the point. Like, her gimmick is she's like a genius wrestler. So she goes for the arm every time.
She's a virtuosa.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I've completely lost where I'm at now because what you've done. You remind me that that's the thing I should have said rather than say that, and now I'm off. Now this is what's clever about these matches, folks, is they've just done the arm stuff for about 90 seconds. And on Rosemary, like, tries to make a comeback, and immediately the arm work matters, and she can't use her arm. Like, immediately. Like, she goes for, I can't remember what it is, but immediately she can't do it, and she's back to being worked over. It's like, you've just rewarded my attention to detail on actually seeing what Deonna was doing, because it mattered in the match. Didn't wait until the finish, it mattered immediately. I don't know who produces her matches, or if it's just Deonna is, like, really attention to detail. But it is really, really strong stuff. So anyway, they work to a double clothesline spot, which resets things. I kind of in my head frame this as a situation of like, you know, Rosemary is weakened enough that it's a double clothesline rather than her just dropping Deonna. Because early on they established that brawling-wise, that's not Deonna's game, which works. But she just can't build any momentum because she's got this weakened arm. So again, like she goes for a submission at one point and she can't get it because her arms, like she can't quite fully hook it. Good stuff. But she's hanging in there. She's hanging in there, Jeremy. She does not submit when everyone else does from Deonna's armbar thing. Like, you know the double armbar she does? This is when Deonna like levels up and just becomes like one of my favourite wrestlers. Because at this point, Deonna is like, okay, I just did my match and got my finish and you didn't tap out. So now I'll do what I should have done all along, which is where she just kicks the shit out of Rosemary's leg, pulls her knee brace off, traps her arms, and then pulls the brace. Like, her body language at this point is genuinely like, okay, you didn't tap out, now I'm going to do what I should have done all along. You know, like, you're really going to make me do this. It's petulant, it's, like, spiteful, and it feels like she's sulking in the middle of the ring in the most vicious, nasty way. It's really, really, really great stuff. Rosemary fires back again, does a spear for 2, but the end is nigh. She goes to do something, can't even stand up on her leg anymore. Deonna takes advantage, wins with a pile driver, which looked fucking awesome because everything was hitting here. So you have a match where basically she does her match around the arm. They make it matter 2 or 3 times on the way. But because Rosemary's so tough, Deonna is like, she feels forced. She's so insulted by the fact that she wouldn't tap out. She feels forced to go after her knee brace gimmick covering her. She knows it's a weak spot. She just has it in her back pocket almost. That's the idea. And that matters too because, as I said, she like drops to her knee at the end of the match. What a smart match. What a cool title run this is, where you basically have Deonna Purrazzo fitting different various styles into her playbook and her genre of match. And she does it in a smart way, a different way every time. There's so much little nuance to it. This is not a good comparison, but it's the only one I can do. It gives me like the vibe of an NWA champ going town to town and just adjusting. You know, like she's doing the same stuff, but she's smart enough to know which stuff to do for different opponents, how to do it. Like when she wrestled Havoc, like she did it completely differently because she was wrestling someone that was way bigger, right? She's just so smart, man. I don't know who she studies or what. I think she's a big Orton fan, which is like, you know, can relate. And when she was doing the stuff on the leg, it felt very Randy. You know when Randy does the stomps? It felt like she was channeling some of that. But like, I feel like either the agents...
I didn't think anybody likes Randy Orton or models their game around Randy Orton because he's very boring.
Yeah, very boring.
Yeah.
But it's like, look, I don't know who her influences are, like stylistically. I know Joel said Gal probably has a hand in her matches, and like perhaps, but like they have a very distinct flavour and taste. Like it's different to anything else out there. It feels like she's watching some very old shit, is what I'm saying. And I'm all for old shit because I love old shit. I think she's great. I honestly think she's like Malenko. Let me be honest with you, bro. Like I don't want to get in trouble. Dean did a lot of dancing shit, man. All hail. Deonna just beats people up. I'm all for it. You know?
Dean Malenko sucked.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but like I'll say this much: there are a lot of people on wrestling Twitter that shit on the flippy guys in AEW and stuff, and would call themselves Dean fans, and it's like, you sir need to grow up a little bit, you know? Because his stuff, like guys used to scoff at. I don't think he sucked, but
sucked.
Other than the fact that like she works a limb, I don't really see the Dean influence, because to me she's doing stuff that's like way more grounded, you know. That's just me. Anyway,
People praise Dean Malenko and then dislike Randy Orton.
Sorry to hear that. That should be a series. Just random generator a Randy match and a Dean Malenko match and decide which one you prefer. There you go. Here's some Patreon content. Did you see any of this, Jeremy? I really love this match. I don't know if you know. See, now that you've done, you've hijacked my whole Deonna praise. She may see this and she'll be like, these guys know what they're talking about. And then all of a sudden we shit all over Dean Malenko.
Deonna, if you're watching, I'm doing a bit with Dean Malenko. I don't have any issues with Dean Malenko, except that he sucked.
He was fine. People get a bit carried away, you know. One of the best workers of all time. Well, maybe not. Maybe like
very underrated sense of humor, Joseph. Did you know that?
I've been told in every interview about Dean Malenko, yes. Really good match. I love Deonna Purrazzo. She's great. I think I've established that. But I do want to give a credit to Rosemary, who sold well. She did everything right, and like her offense when she was actually on offense was very good. Really liked the match. I think Taylor Wilde and Deonna Purrazzo could be a really great match, folks. I'm excited for that. Now, the Moose Man and the Kenneth Omega. I don't know if it's because Davis reported that Kenny is beaten up, but holy shit, he looks beaten up. He's all just like red. He's got the cupping gimmicks on his back.
Yeah, I noticed the cupping on AEW a couple of times.
Yes, the last few times he's had it, right? It's
yeah.
like, I don't know. I hope he's well. There's 14 people at Daly's place.
This backdrop was fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
It was just all black.
The cupping thing is like therapy for the back and the... I don't fucking know. They do that thing, right, where it leaves the cupping marks. You know what I'm talking about, Jeremy?
Yeah. A lot of athletes use
Explain
it.
it. Yeah, explain it. Exactly.
I don't really know what it's about. I just said a lot of athletes use it. I ain't no athlete. I don't use it.
Physical therapy. I don't know, guys.
Yeah.
We're not athletes. Okay. Anyway, there's 10 people at Daly's place. And early on, Kenny's like, he's hesitant to even engage, and they immediately establish Moose's sort of power and his athleticism and all that good stuff. There's this sense that momentum-wise, like, Moose has finally figured it out, which is fun because I think it's also the truth in terms of where he's at as a wrestler. Like, I know that Moose is polarizing, but he does seem like he's really cracked the code in terms of being what the rest of the people wanted him to be, you know? So, good for him. Now, anyway, it feels like Kenny's flying uphill throughout here. And in response, he tries to get one-winged angel early. Nothing's doing. He can barely get him on his shoulders. Tries to do it off the corner, can't do it. It's very tough. He eventually gets his way into things. He hits his big dive, but he's then caught in midair, and he just can't quite get going. He isn't without success completely. Like he has his moments. He just never seems to be able to build on it. Whereas on the other hand, Moose eventually has a target when he does the catch in midair gimmick. And it's Kenny's back, ironically, after we just talked about the cupping. And he goes after there, and in a fitting fashion for the Moose character, he eventually gets carried away and goes for a big stupid dive and lands on a bunch of chairs, because Moose, the character, is like just dumb. Moose, are you watching this? I'm not commenting on you in this particular occasion, but the character is established as dumb. Okay. Anyway, he's a wrestling god, Jeremy, I've been told. At one point he goes, I'm a wrestling god, and Tony Schiavone goes, did you just say he's a wrestling god? It's like, he says it a lot, Tony.
Offended
says,
Tony Schiavone.
Like, you can tell Tony had never seen this man wrestle. It was great. So anyway, it looked great. He took a great bump into the ringside seats. And now Omega has a target, and he goes after Moose's elbow, or shoulder, whatever, the arm. This leads to an armbar of sorts eventually. Moose slams himself free. In fairness to the Moose, okay, I'm seeing when they take this through. Yes, in fairness to Moose, he sells on the comeback, which is good. Good job, Moose. Again, he feels like he's figured out what he's supposed to be, man. Good on him. And then with both guys weakened, they go into the cool move portion, because both guys have got a body part cell, so now it's time to hit your cool shit. Kenny absolutely murders him with 2 V-triggers. And I feel like the slower Kenny gets, the more he feels like he has to just fucking kill people with the V-trigger. And it looks awesome. So I'm sure it hurts, but I don't care. Especially in this case, I couldn't give a shit. So just great stuff. Love the V-trigger. Great move, Jeremy Rupp. Great move, the V-trigger. So anyway,
Love
more
the
of those.
V-trigger.
At one point, bro, Moose hooks the top rope with his bad arm, and Kenny V-triggers the bad arm at like the elbow point. Come on, bro. Come on, I can rock with that. That's some good shit, Kenny Omega. Good job. So, he still avoids the one-wing danger. I do love that finish. He's like, as soon as he gets guys on his shoulders, everyone just panics. So I think it's really good. Don does a great job with it on commentary. Hits a great lariat. Ringside doctors in because he's worried about Moose's arm, which gives Kenny a route back into the match. But it doesn't last long. Spanish fly off the top, and then there's a ref bump because Kenny like drags him in front or whatever he does. And Matt and Nick Jackson come in, they do the finish, and then they do some angle with Sami Callihan, which was like they might as well just said to me, Joe, you like one show in wrestling, and Sami Callihan will soon be on it, so go fuck yourself. So I just sat there like, great news.
Is Callihan gonna actually be on AEW?
Yes, he is, because wrestling is shit. It sucks. It's awful. It's ruined. No one. We're actually going to end up in a timeline where Samoa Joe is a NXT coach with Steve Corino, and AEW signs Braun Strowman. That's about to happen. This is all going to happen in front of your own eyes. We are now living a down spiral. This is where it is. The industry is ending soon. I will end it. If it doesn't end itself, I will end it. I promise. Anyway, good match. I like it a lot. I think Kenny's... Look, man. I've been doing this as of late. I'm going to do it again. Kenny is outrageous. Because Kenny looked like he was fucked up here. And he's working with a big, strong guy who, as talented as Moose is, he's not a perfect technician by any means. But, like, Kenny just adjusted. And they had, like, a traditional title match for the most part. And it was very good. I liked it. They had a couple moments of clunkiness, which I just think is Moose. Like, again, I think very highly of him as an athlete, but I think he just isn't smooth that way. But I like the match a lot. It's very good. Sami Callihan. What do you think?
I'm actually writing, and I don't know why. I don't have to. I probably shouldn't, but I am. I'm writing about these exclusive text messages that Sami Callihan shared with Scott D'Amore. Did you see these, Joseph?
No.
He's going to show up to Impact on Thursday despite being fired. Access TV representatives are going to be there. Apparently, Don Callis can fire people, but Scott D'Amore cannot overturn that or anything. So it appears that Don Callis has more influence and power than Scott D'Amore does in Impact. That's what I'm gathering based on the ruling made right here. Because otherwise, why doesn't Scott D'Amore just be like, "Oh, Sami Callihan, you're back"? Like he's giving him the runaround here. He said,
"What? Don Callis doesn't work there anymore."
He's an executive. He fired Sami Callihan, Joseph. On screen, this is what happened.
Doesn't work there.
Maybe behind the scenes, but in front of the camera, Don Callis still has power.
Doesn't work there.
No, he does. I'm trying to explain this to you that on screen he has power.
I don't want to ever talk about Sami Callihan again. Ever again. Not on this show, not on Thursdays, not on BPW, not on any show do I want to talk about the man who does the thumbs up, thumbs down thing, and he's 5'1" and wrestles like Stan Hansen, which is a quote from an AEW superstar that I will not name because he will soon have to team with that man. I will not do it. I will not do it. I will not talk about it any further. Please, let's leave it there.
All right, I was ready to talk about Sami Callihan and explain this whole angle to you, but if you're not in the mood for it, and if you're not going to listen to reason, and you're not going to listen to the explanation here, then fine. I guess I can't do anything about that.
I cannot believe he's the Slamversary match. I can't believe it. Just outrageous.
Why? Why can't you believe this?
Because for some reason I was convinced that these people were competent. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway. In your house. Speaking of competence, the show was a thumbs up. I thought it was a good show. I liked the main event a lot. I liked the co-main event quite a bit. Everything else was fine. It was a good show. I liked it. I don't like the direction because I think that guy sucks. Anyway, In Your House. Oh.
Have you heard of his original ideas before the hacker gimmick, Joseph?
You talking about Sammy Callahan again?
Yeah.
I was very clear about this, Jeremy. Never again. Never. You know what we should do? That someone find the show where Jack Crosby. Someone in the chat goes, "What about Sammy Callahan?" Jack Crosby just goes, "No, no." Someone click that, find it, and just insert that anytime it's brought up. Okay. In Your House. Let me tweet this link. You're gonna feel the dead air this time, Jeremy. You're gonna make me type this with me. I'm gonna do it on my laptop so I can type with my. This will be fine. I can do this. I can do it. I'm not gonna need you to fill the dead air. I'll do it myself.
I will fill the dead air.
Okay.
Joseph. All right. So Sammy Callahan talked about when this hacker gimmick wanted to be like, what's the movie where they hack into bank accounts and stuff? So you would like check your phone and be like, oh no, I'm poor now. This was the original idea for the Sammy Callahan hacker gimmick that he wanted to do in NXT. And when he started doing it in Impact, he was very thankful that he could, really show his vision of what the hacker gimmick was. And they showed, I don't know if everybody's been keeping up with the hacker gimmick in Impact, but he would like have TVs kind of go crazy and he'd like turn the lights down and stuff. And it was one point where a very problematic wrestler was very scared of the kind of hacking that Sammy Callahan could do. I know that doesn't quite narrow down the list, but this is what happened. And then, he would turn the lights down and then like Ken Shamrock would sometimes show up and stuff. Did you see this at Against All Odds where he hacked into Daly's place and the lights went down, and then Sammy Callahan showed up? The hacking gimmick, he wanted to like go into like bank accounts and steal money and steal like IDs and personal information and stuff. But basically, he just turns the lights down and somebody just appears.
In Your House. Just look, credit to him, man. The intro was really cool. I think it's wild that this is the thing that we've got nostalgia for. Like it's not one good In Your House.
Dude.
Like I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I pop for it as well, so I'm not clowning it. I'm just saying it's funny.
It's so weird. Like when people go crazy over this stuff, and like I thought the Todd Pettengill stuff was fun and whatnot. People are like, oh, this is so great. This is so great. It's like, man, how much does wrestling suck nowadays when we're like, yeah, In Your House. This is the greatest concept known to man.
And I get it. You guys are
what
trolls.
Are we doing?
That's your whole
It's
gimmick.
weird. I don't know. Taxel subscribed Prime. They've been subscribed for 5 months. Great brother is the Taxel.
Yes. Good
Great
man.
brother.
Yes.
We hope you're well, pal. So, here's the thing with this show, guys. It objectively is a fine professional wrestling show. However, in terms of tone, vibe, feel, direction, and momentum, it is a borderline crisis program. It is like alarm bell ringing. Holy shit, just how much were we relying on Finn Balor to keep this thing afloat? So we will get into all of that. There is a young lady called Naomi Fox, who I assume is famous. And she's not famous. Well, to perform the way she did here, you will be famous. And I very seldom would comment on that matter. But, oh my God, it was something. Todd Pettengill is here too.
How pissed was Triple H? Like, wait, we got to do 90s pop hip hop to stick with the In Your House theme. We can't do, Smashing Pumpkins. Can we not get Billy for this to do some 90s rock here?
Wow. I mean, Billy there would have rolled. Would have been the best.
That would have been great.
Just never referenced that he liked wrestling. Like, just Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan. Here he is. So, folks, I did see some comments about In Your House. I'll at the end just kind of wrap up your thoughts, and we'll talk more broadly. I want to hit these matches because I have notes and I don't want to think that I wasted them. Okay, I agree with most of what you guys were saying about it being just flat and uninteresting, which you'll realise as I go through it. MSK, Bronson Reed, Legado del Fantasma. Is that correct? Legado?
Yeah.
That was good. Good
Yeah.
job. Good job, Joe. The heels are real cool, man. I like the heels. LDF, I'm going to call them for the sake of my brain. They're very cool. I like their presentation. I like that whole act. Wrong nostalgia, though, early on. Very upset by this, Jeremy. Did you notice how they started this match? Two of the guys, I believe it was Wild and Carter, did their own, like... They did, like, the RVD Jerry Lynn spot, which is the wrong mid-90s nostalgia. There was never on In Your House. No one did the sequence where you stand off each other at the end. It's wrong.
I think Hakushi and 1-2-3 Kid did that sequence before on In Your House.
Sorry to hear that. I'm messing, guys. This match was fun. You knew this match would be good, right?
Yes.
So anyway, Escobar rules. He's tremendous. He tags in and bows out, and it's great. Mendoza just gets the shit kicked out of him by Bronson, who says, "Ain't no way," he says. I don't know if he's good or bad. I'm honest with you guys. I change my mind every week. Every time I see Bronson Reed, I'm like, could be great, could be not so good. Not sure. Not sure what his ceiling is. No idea. Seems like a nice guy, so I root for him. But he's fun sometimes. Escobar uses a blind tag to come in, and he gets bumped out. And he does this great, like, sell of his ribs, really looks like he can't breathe. He's so awesome. I really like this guy. What else happens here? The baby faces are kicking ass, and then they like grab a hold, because I guess that's what MSK would do when they're in control of a match. The crowd is not like. It's already apparent to me that while they're cheering the cool moves, the crowd just doesn't give a shit about the show, and that becomes a big theme for the night. It's big cold territory vibes, man. Like, they pop when they go into the dives and stuff. The crowd pops because they earned it, but like, there's no like emotional. There's no energy. Like, it's just people are just like watching wrestling, and that's what NXT never struggled with. They always had that electricity. It's not there. But anyway, they do the dive sequence I just mentioned, and things break down so the heels take control. They isolate the Wesley, sprinkle some cool moves throughout. Bronson Reed makes a hot tag, does some neat power stuff, which leaves only poor Escobar standing. But he does a neat deal where he like distracts the ref, baits him, they cut him off again. They do that whole deal. MSK make a save. There is a hilarious point in this match that if Matt or Nick Jackson had done it, would have been clipped 4,000 times, which is when Santos Escobar was super kicked back up, standing right like.
That was.
He was in a pin, got super kicked, like stood up to the stagger set. I was like, sure, man. I mean,
It's a powerful kick. It lifted him off the ground.
Yeah. And again, let me stress again, I do not care, but like, it's just funny. That's all. He did that. It's not a criticism of him, by the way. It's just it was weird. Like, it was obviously something they hadn't thought through, is what I'm saying. So he does that. There's saves all over the place. It's very exciting. Bronson Reed puts Escobar through the barricade. They single out Mendoza. They get the group effort victory, finishing with the big splash from Reed. I love the heels. I'm less keen on the baby faces and overall act. I think MSK are very exciting. I think there's still some kind of like some kind of confusion as to who they are to me as characters, but I don't watch the TV closely, so maybe that's on me.
They're characters. Let me tell you, as someone who watches the TV weekly, Joseph, their characters are that they just like to have fun. They come out there and they have fun and they do cool moves, and the crowd doesn't really care, or they boo them. That's kind of how it goes.
They are very mean, the crowd. But anyway, it was a good match. I gotta be honest with you though, I logged on and I feel like I missed something with this match. Like, I didn't, I thought it was just like a good 6-man, and people were like, "Wow, we got another classic on our hands, folks." I was like, I don't know, man. Like, now in hindsight, it was one of the best matches of the night, but it was cool. Like, it didn't. To me, it didn't get rocking to that degree. Like, it was fun down the stretch, especially, but I don't know. I will be fair. Like, I wasn't in the best of moods watching this show because I was trying to convince myself I wanted to like NXT, and I wasn't.
I thought, based on your tweets, it seemed like you were in a great mood for this show.
Yeah.
You were very excited. You were praising a lot of stuff. You fooled me, I must say.
It was a coping mechanism, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, okay.
My intention, folks, was to like NXT again because I thought that Samoa Joe would be wrestling for them soon. Now that he is not apparently wrestling for them soon, I'll never watch the show again.
Aren't you doing the review with me tomorrow?
No.
That's mean.
No.
That's mean.
Absolutely not. Never. I'll never ever review the TV. I refuse.
That's very
I will
mean.
not stay up at 3 in the morning to watch NXT television. What do you think I am, a lunatic? I'll
Yes.
be up at 3 in the morning, but I'm not watching wrestling.
Not even to review the show with me?
I'll review it, I just don't want to watch it.
I mean, you could come on the review show and just act like you watched it. I do that anyway. That's what I'm doing here.
Absolutely not. Louis says the problem here isn't that Cross is a bad wrestler, but he's a bad wrestler for NXT. Good point, I agree. His acting style do not mesh with guys like Escobar, Reed, and everyone else in the main event scene. Hampers the quality of the product as a whole. I think I mostly agree with you. I completely agree with your sentiment though, which is these guys that are like, LOL, you people just want moves. It's like, how about it's not that and it's just that I think he's embarrassing. How about it's that? I actually have really very little issues with it. I find it kind of boring, and I don't think he knows what he's supposed to be because he does MMA stuff alongside like methodical Randy Orton stuff. My main issue is I just find him like an embarrassing television character. I'm sorry. But I agree with your point that it doesn't fit in NXT. To me, it just doesn't fit anywhere because it shits. But anyway, Mercedes Martinez, Xia Li. Before that, Kyle O'Reilly argued with like The Way or something. I don't know.
Joseph.
Yeah?
Did you know that there's chaos going on in NXT? Did you hear about this?
It was a point to it at least.
Dude.
No? The Regal thing, at least it was like an idea, you know?
Right. They've been doing this for weeks on television. And every single time. Chaos.
Bedlam.
Just, we get it. Just, it can just like happen and we can see it and that's it. Like, you don't have to keep telling me what's going on here. But they're not good at that.
Mercedes and Xia Li do the DDP Goldberg lock up to the floor thing, which rules. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat here. What are we talking about? Yeah, Cross sucks, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'll try and tackle it more nuanced later, but whatever. Anyway, they do that, and Lee she launches some strikes. Mercedes fires back, but it's a short-lived rally, man. She's Xia Li's in control. Oh my god.
Sorry, I'm getting.
You're fine. I
should have muted my mic. I have Sour Punch straws. Have you ever had these, Joseph?
No, I don't think so. No,
They're very good.
I probably have. Let's be honest. If it's saying it's not good for you, I probably had it. Anyway, she goes after the ribs, which apparently is an established thing on the television show. So, good job. She's kicking ass. Mercedes moves, and Xia Li kicks the post. This is the most overdone spot in wrestling, but normally it's with a chop. The kick looks way cooler. So, there's that. This allows them a back and forth assaults. But from Lim selling aside with her leg, it's really Xia Li's match. They're trying to make a point of showcasing her here, which is fine. I get that's probably Mercedes' role at this point. But she still finds she hits cliffhanger, which is a very cool move for 2. They fight back to the floor, which I think they did about 18 times in this match, but, whatever. But then they get back in, and, she just hits with a spin kick and wins. Kind of flat, kind of out of nowhere. It's a fine match. I had not seen Xia Li extensively before. I thought she was good here, but it was just like a little bit. I think it could have committed one way or the other in terms of what it was trying to achieve. It came off flatter than I think they intended. But then with a post-match angle, I guess you couldn't beat Mercedes too flat because she's then doing it. There's a lot going on basically. The post-match angle just sucks, and there's spooky stuff, and it gave me Black Scorpion vibes because the crowd was so just. It just was goofy shit for a crowd that didn't want it. It was lame.
Wow. I feel like that's a very harsh take, Joseph.
In terms of what?
It's just, I don't know. I just think that's kind of mean to what they were accomplishing here as putting over, even though Mercedes Martinez lost. I don't know if you caught that part. But even though she lost, she was still being established as a badass who is not going to back down to Tian Sha, who up until this point had been very established as why would you step to this woman? She's been sitting on this chair. She blew metal in I forgot the girl, Kaden Carter. She blew metal in her lungs, and just so when Tian Shaw finally stood up, this is like the first time she's ever stood up too, Joseph. I don't know if you know that. Like, this is a big moment. I don't know if you heard the crowd reaction when she stood up. Like, might have been one of the biggest pops of the night. And she stood up and she walked forward, and Mercedes Martinez was like, "I'm not scared of you, bitch." And she threw the bitch in there to let her know that, like, she really isn't scared, because that's what they do on WWE television. They use that word a lot. And then even though she caught her with the Tongan death grip, Mercedes Martinez took the chair and hit her with it, and to show that, like, she's not going to back down from this woman, especially if she has a chair in her hand. But it didn't faze Tian Shaw. Tian Shaw really proved just what a mythical figure she is by getting hit with this chair and just continuing to walk forward. And then Tongan death gripped her again and then tossed her off of the ramp, Joseph. I don't know if you caught that part. She tossed her off of the ramp and into the glass. And, like, that was major. Like, that was really... Did you see the strength of this woman? Like, she had her by the chin and just completely tossed her off of the ramp right into the glass. Like, there's so much strength to that. She could have blown more metal in her lungs, like she did to the other lady. I forgot it, Kaden Carter. She could have done that. Instead, she showed what kind of mythical, magical strength she has by taking her by the chin and tossing her off of the ramp into the glass.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, they did a thing about vaccinations.
You're not going to sell for my bit?
No. JBL misses going to the bar and he wants to get a beer and catch the game.
No, Joseph, you missed it. He goes, I miss going to the bar. I want to catch a game with my friends. The stumble there is what, like, really sells that whole thing. I've seen this fucking promo so many times.
This is the first time I've seen it.
Really? Oh, dude. That stumble every single time. He's like, just want to go catch a game with my friends.
Ciampa and Tim Thatcher did a promo. I would tell Tim that I am convinced he's very tough and he does not need to do the face at every second of the promo, but should instead save it for the end. But in this particular program, Tim Thatcher is the least of my worries, so I'll move on swiftly. LA Knight and Cameron Grimes. Dude, if you watch one thing on this show, watch the video package for this match in which Ted DiBiase just reads a script, and he sounds like he's doing like a speech in front of a school class. It's outrageous. I can't. It was hilarious to me. They appeared to be presenting the belt as being actually important, which rules. But here they are.
Joseph, do you know who's held this title? Ted DiBiase, who, what a great run he had in WWF as like a glorified manager. Not even a glorified manager. Like, he just was a manager the majority of his WWF run. Virgil, the legend Soul Train Jones has held this title.
Okay.
Steve Austin, he accomplished big things. I mean, granted, like, he gave up that entire gimmick and that title to accomplish these things, but, like, he went on to absolute superstardom. And Ted DiBiase Jr., like, what a lineage this title has. It might be one of the most important titles in wrestling history.
Yeah, it looks cool. Cameron Grimes got a good pop, which is good.
Biggest pop of the night, besides Tian Shaw.
Here they go. They struggle for position.
Position? They did a terrible lockup gimmick here that sucked.
Did you not like it? Oh, no.
This match? Denise.
Particular spot.
I didn't like any of this outside of
Really?
Cameron Grimes doing fine stuff. Denise hated this match, which was hilarious.
That's mean. I don't know about that.
Do what? She called it terrible. She's like, it's terrible. And she goes, shit, I lost my train of thought. she's like, it was terrible. She's like, I love ladder matches and everything. And I was like, I thought it was fine. She's like, Jeremy, you're not going to remember this match like 3 months from now. And I was like, Denise, I don't remember any matches like 3 days from now. So this isn't like anything big.
Honestly thought, like, I didn't care at all because why would I? But I honestly thought they had a good match. I really didn't. I have issues with it, which we'll get into. But anyway, I like Cameron Grimes, man. He's always been able to hit way above his weight class, and he does that here. Like, he really lays his shit in, which I've always loved. The LA Knight, man, does a hilarious thing where he goes to the floor and puts a ladder in the ring, and then, like, he's not the one that's in the ring, which is interesting. They then climb a little bit, which is they do that once in the first 20 minutes. This match went 4 hours. They do that ladder duel spot that everyone does. Grimes is pretty great in this match. I'm not going to knock it. LA Knight's fine. People overstate how shitty he is. I'm going to be honest. I am struggling to care, but that is not their fault. It is simply the limitations of my life as a wrestling fan. They work hard. The pacing is not ideal. And no one is really trying to win, which I would recommend against. I feel like someone should climb the ladder between minute 5 and minute 15, but that's just me. They are doing some wild shit, though, man. Like, he takes that bump into the barricade, and it's like, that was gnarly. And then they transition into German suplex him into a ladder. Knight does a neck breaker on a ladder, which looked incredible. I just wish some guy would climb the ladder more. That's all. That was the only thing. I thought they worked hard and did some cool shit. I just wish both guys tried to win a little bit more. But nonetheless, the peak of not trying to win, culminates when the Cameron Grimes opts for the gold ladder. Finally, there is some drama. And they fight on top of the ladder, and they reach a double down somehow or another. And then Grimes does like a crossbody off part of the Full Sail. Is it Full Sail? Where is this?
Capitol Wrestling Center.
Is that Full Sail though, or is that?
No, I think it's a performance center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Are they ever going back to Full Sail?
Triple H talked about it, and they said they would like to at some point. I don't think Full Sail is like fully open at this point, so I think they're waiting for that to get back open.
Okay, got you. So he does something off. I don't know what I was talking about. He does his crossbody, and they insert "holy shit" chants, which sound terrible. Grimes then climbs up. Knight pushes him. He takes this absurd ladder bump, which looked just awful. And LA Knight wins. I feel like they should have done some sort of shenanigans if LA Knight's going to win and they're going to continue this, rather than just having him beat the babyface. But it was good. Like, I get why people didn't like it because it was kind of long, but like, I genuinely feel like the audience cared more about this than almost anything else on the show, which like, kind of sad in its own way, but at least it was like an angle and a program. The rest of this shit was just like matches they'd booked. Like, was there any feuds on this show other than this one? Seriously. This was the only feud. So, I thought it was fun.
Ember and Raquel sort of had a feud.
I mean, not really though, right? Like, it's...
Mercedes and Zaya sort of had a feud. She marked her, and then they called back to the Mae Young Classic that we'd all remembered, and how Mercedes won that match, and how Zaya has improved so much. And the six man, like, they've kind of been loosely feuding. I think you're being harsh on NXT.
I feel like you proved my point, but I'm with that. I thought that worked hard. I'm not going to get climbing. Like, I thought they did a good job.
Joseph.
Yep.
I have breaking news.
Oh god, this has not gone well for me recently. What is happening?
Have you seen the card for tonight's WWE Monday Night Raw?
I haven't.
Would you like to know what is on the card for tonight's WWE Monday Night Raw? Well, I'm going to tell you anyway, Joseph, so I'm sorry. AJ Styles against Drew McIntyre.
Good.
Good match, right?
Yeah.
RK Bro against New Day.
Good match.
Eva Marie against Naomi.
Okay.
Charlotte Flair against Nikki Cross.
Sorry to hear that.
And Rhea Ripley against Asuka. 3 women's bouts, Joseph. I can't imagine why anybody would complain when they're getting 3 women's matches on this show.
Anyway, Hit Row are talking to Todd Pettengill. Someone else is fighting, I don't know who, I don't care. Ember and Raquel Gonzalez is next, which is, for those of you that watch our show, you'll know this is the match I care about somewhat. I like the pre-match intensity. Both women locked eye to eye. It was good. Give me slight big match feel until I realised no one in the crowd give a shit about it. Emma jumps her early, and I'm immediately concerned because the people they're just not with it, and it's just a shame because it's like this has been a problem for Ember for the longest. It's something that I feel like they should try and experiment more creatively, but like it's just lost on the people. They don't like the Ember Moon as much as I do. It's a shame. But anyway, she soon just bounces off Raquel and is cut off. She takes an incredible bump on the barricade. Raquel brings Ember in just by like picking her off the floor with her head, which is very awesome. That's a very cool thing. I'd like to do that to many people on Twitter. Just pick them up by their head, lift them off the floor. It's very, very fun. But anyway, I assume Ember Moon makes it a lot easier than people on Twitter would. But anyway, she does that. It rules. Ember is one of the only wrestlers in existence that still like fights from underneath and knows what that means. Rather than just laying dead, she actually does it. She throws these great body shots to no avail. She's like really trying to just inch her way back into the fight. But Raquel was kicking ass because she's dominant. Ember has all these like cool little hope spots where Raquel just cuts her off. Boom, boom, boom. Like for example, I feel like I've said this a lot tonight, but it happened again here. They did like a spot where she got caught in midair. And then she hit this like turning Vader bomb deal, which looked pretty good. Ember's bumping in this match is outrageous. Outrageous. She's just like naturally in this role where she's the defined babyface, she's a natural fit. But she just can't get any momentum, even though she's firing away with kind of returns. It changes when she strings some strikes together and she hits that awesome super kick. And man, they placed this thing so perfectly because like it actually felt like a significant turning point that she'd hit the super kick. And then she did that thing where she was rolling and she hit that forearm that dropped her. Bro, how good did that look? That was spectacular. Just a straight forearm. Her stuff is very, very good in that sense. So anyway, she drops her. She goes to her submission thing, which I believe is her new finish, or of some kind. She beats some people with it, or whatever. Raquel, and this is where the match gets problematic for me. And I don't mean Twitter-like problematic in Raquel's case. I mean wrestling problematic. Raquel bows. Ember hits her awesome dive. And it's a great combat. It's paced perfectly because Ember, she walks the fine line between still selling because she's had the shit kicked out of her, but also this kind of thinking desperation of how the hell am I going to actually put her out? It's good. But we're getting now to problems. Because at this point, Dakota does a distraction. And there's like not a superplex, but a middle rope shitty superplex. And Ember's still going. She nearly snatches a quick pin, but she gets big booed. Like, she's always trying stuff, and it's good. It's good babyface. She then hits a counter eclipse, hits a bunch of moves, and then does the eclipse itself. And Dakota saves Raquel by putting her foot on the bottom rope. Alarm bells situation. I'm not sure about what we do here. Shows she comes out, she runs off Dakota or whatever, and then like Ember hits a DDT on the ramp. She can't drag her back in the ring, which again she does a great job conveying. It's good. All of this is fine. I have no problem with the work. I need to talk about the point of the match at the end. And then the next eclipse is cool, which I'm not a big fan of, whatever. And she hits her finish, which is a very cool finish for the win, does the Raquel. It's a good match. However, it's a problem, this, because they want her to be dominant, but they also want to have like good matches. And you just can't have your cake and eat it too, man. Because in the end of this match, she was saved by Dakota. It's like, how dominant is she? Yeah, she kicked ass for 6 minutes, but by the end, Ember beat her. Now, is that good? I think it's good if you've got like a chicken shit heel that like Ember had her beat and she had it stolen. I don't think that's what they're presenting Raquel as. They're presenting her as a destroyer. I don't know. To me, the problem with Raquel is she's very much a developmental champion. I think she's coming along nicely, but it's not a developmental division. It's a bunch of polished performers that they're calling the best division in the world. So you end up in this situation. Oh, Ember was great, and Raquel is what she is. She's raw and she has some cool stuff, but like, it was basically a one-woman show. There's no shame in Ember's a great performer. That was her job here. The issue with it is Ember's not over enough to like be a star maker or get or get Raquel over that way. So you just had this like just cold 12-minute match, and this is what all of our matches are going to be to me for the foreseeable. Like, now the thing is, when she was with Shotzi Blackheart, it's like the people will be with her more. Shows you that is, and that's cool. But in terms of the match, I still feel like it's going to be the same deal, like just a 12-minute match where she kicks ass, you do come back, and you go to the finish. I just, I feel like this could have been better because Ember. I feel like Ember was in the form that could have had a special match. I don't think Raquel's ready to do that, and that seems like a problem to me. But that's just me. What do you think, Jeremy?
I think this one had the same issue of Xia Li and Mercedes Martinez, which I didn't talk about because you didn't sell for my bit because you suck. You're right. They want Xia Li to be dominant. They presented her as a killer going into this. She just take people out in like one move and everything, and that was it. And then what do they do with her against Martinez? Like, okay, well, let's give Martinez a little bit of offense here, show Xia Li can be vulnerable, and then but still have Xia win. But then after the match, do a bunch of bullshit that I'm with you. All that sucked. That post match was so unnecessary for that, and what I don't even know what they were trying to accomplish. It was just very unnecessary, and it wasn't good. And the same thing. Did I miss to talk about Cameron Grimes? Did you just like not throw to me for my opinion on this?
You said it sucked, and you said that Denise thought it sucked too.
I feel like I had more to add to that segment as it was a ladder match, and you just completely skipped over me.
You were talking about something else, and I was like, oh, anyway.
Oh, I think I went to the Raw rundown.
You did, yeah. Just talk about it.
What was I talking about?
You wanted to talk about Cameron Grimes.
Oh, I like Cameron Grimes. I should have won that match. LA Knight's not good, dude. Like, it's just not that good. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not sorry, but just I didn't like that match. I thought Cameron Grimes bumped his ass off and then LA Knight won, but that happens, right? It happens. That's all I really got to say about that. Ladder matches are stupid. They'll have to do another one next month, I'm sure, at the SummerSlam TakeOver. Sean's got to throw his ladder in there and shit. And then this match, yeah, same issue. Just have Raquel win in like 6 minutes and just be that. And it's like, man, who can beat this woman? But they gotta go. They gotta go with let's have a good match. I thought Ember's performance was great, and I think Raquel is coming along nicely. But just book someone as like a dominant champion. We kind of see this in the main event too. Like, if you want these people to dominate, like, have them dominate. They're afraid to do that, though. They want a 50-50 everybody and just keep them all at the same level.
Nick Salomis did something to Todd Pettingill.
They did Karate Fighters, Joseph.
They did. It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did you like that?
I like the Karate Fighters.
Yeah. Whole show was just like... I don't know if anyone out there knows Red Letter Media, but they often poke fun at how, like, these things, just Star Wars becomes just like, it's just fan service, right? It's just people sitting in their chairs saying, I know what that is. That's what this was. Oh, Christ, I know what that is. I'm in
nostalgia.
On that one. Yeah, there's nostalgia, and then there's like, just, look, this is fine. It's not it's harmless stuff, but it's hilarious to me. This is like the cool brand. But anyway, main event, everyone's music is shit. Everyone comes out to the same song. I don't know what's happening.
Dude, the Adam Cole song is just so unfortunate. Like, the Undisputed Era theme ruled, and it had the vibe, and he goes boom, and everyone loved that shit.
Bro, it's the Adam Cole stuff is an absolute mess. Like, no one wants to boo him, and like they've lost it. They've completely lost it. We'll do this now. Anyway, Red Letter Media rule Northwood. I rip off all of their stuff. Anyway, don't tell them that. They'd be very upset that a 5,000 view podcast rips off their stuff. Anyway, so, okay, the crowd, and this becomes the story of the night. The crowd just does not give a shit about. They don't give a shit about Karrion Kross, and it's hilarious. And they just like don't make any sound, and this creates negative big fight feel. Like this creates like invert. Like no one cares, and it's dead. They immediately start with a theme of the match that everyone joked about thinking it wouldn't be a real thing, which is where the other 4 guys have their matches and Karrion Kross watches. That's how the match starts.
Everyone knew this was going to be a thing.
I just assumed it would be like us. We were having fun.
No, I was like, this is what they're going to do. Because this is where... Go ahead and review the match.
Okay. You sure?
Not really, but I don't want to screw up your notes. I know you're reading from a script and everything here.
Yeah. It's a lot. I kind of stopped watching this match. I'm going to be honest, guys. So anyway, they do this. We have an immediate problem live crowd-wise because every time Kross is engaging in stuff, they just go dead silent. He starts doing his MMA shit with Dunn and O'Reilly, which is hilarious because he's like a killer, but he's also not really a killer. He's just a shitty MMA fighter, Karrion Kross. The crowd loves Adam Cole, which is hilarious because of what I just mentioned. But he's like the only like real heel in terms of like morality, which is awesome. But who cares, right? No one watches the product. It's so much so that everyone targets him in particular, including Karrion Kross against silence. Karrion Kross then beats everyone up, and then Kyle O'Reilly out MMAs him, I believe is the exact term. Kross is then like, I want you, Adam Cole. We aren't done, man. And it's like, yeah, sure. They go up the ramp and they do that spot through the door, which was cool. Then the good wrestlers are able to have their match, right? So then they go and they do their match, and it's literally that blunt. It's like, here, now we can do our match. I guess it's fun. I'm gonna lie though, like I'm out. Like I'm not buying any of these false finishes.
Wow.
It's all just like the most it's all familiar and it's good stuff and it's great wrestlers. But I'm sorry, at this point I'm 2 hours in and I've had a terrible time. It's not a bad show, but it's just boring. It's just shit, isn't it? It's lifeless. It's so dull, all of it. Even this stuff, like they're doing good stuff, but it's just I'm just uninterested in all of them as people. It's terrible. Anyway, they're doing that. And it's, again, folks, it's good. I'm not pretending it's not. I just don't care. The people like this, but don't worry, because Kross is soon back again. And the crowd, again, is out. He obviously beats everyone up because that's his thing. Johnny has this great sequence later on where he goes back and forth with Adam Cole. And legitimately, I was like, man, these guys ever worked before? Haven't seen those matches. Never seen them. And then Vic Joseph was like, these had the greatest matches in NXT history. So I was like, oh, there you go. I guess they have.
Have you not watched the Cole Gargano stuff?
No, I was not in a place to watch NXT at that time. I avoided it at all costs. But it just popped me. It was such a beautiful encapsulation of NXT. Like, of course they've wrestled, Like, I mean, I understand I should have known that because they're famous matches. What I'm saying is, all of these guys have been there forever, Like, of course. Other than Karrion Kross, who, ironically, the crowd hated. That makes sense. Now, anyway, where are we here? The good wrestlers are having fun. They're enjoying themselves. They do some spectacular stuff. They have all these innovative spots where guys go in and out of shit, and it's like the Unbreakable match review where it's like everyone's involved at once. Very creative. But it only exposes Kross more because I don't even think Kross is a terrible wrestler, but they made him seem like a terrible wrestler by so clearly hiding him while the other guys did all the work. And like, who do you think watches NXT? Fans that care about that stuff. You're just killing him without even realising it. And I don't care. Like, look, go away, do it if you want, but it just shows such an incompetence. Like, it exposed Kross doing all this, But anyway, they do it just throughout. And he comes back in again to silence. And now they start booing him. And it's tough, man. It's real tough. The other 4 then, like, combine to get rid of Kross. I can't see what you're doing because my phone is covering your face on my laptop. But you seem to be doing something. Are you doing like a Karrion Kross gimmick, or have you just
like I feel like someone just like went up my nose and it tickled.
I could only see the outline of you going like this. Like Karrion Kross.
Oh, I had this horrible tickle in my nose.
I'm sorry to hear that. Now, they're booing the Karrion Kross fan. The 4 guys combine. They kick the shit out of him. They all slap their fires, and they powerbomb him on the table. And then they go back to having a good match, and they do this exciting stuff. They never really convince me anyone's winning, because I know full well Karrion Kross is winning. Of course he's going to win. Like, it's the most... you just know. You know where it's going. There is one great false finish that includes Kross, which is where Pete Dunne actually beats him up and hits bitter end. And the crowd was very happy about this because they feared he was not going to beat up Karrion Kross. And then they all do more moves. And then Kyle O'Reilly gets a submission and Kross is like positioned as such that everyone in the world knows what's going to happen next. And he chokes Kyle O'Reilly out to silence. This was not a bad match, okay? This was a good match. However, it was far more significant in terms of what it represented than just a great match. I mean, we had to be realistic about what this is. Because the two most over guys in this match were guys that were peaked in NXT 2-3 years ago, which is Johnny and Adam Cole. The crowd also liked Pete Dunne, who is objectively less interesting now than he was years back. Kyle O'Reilly is dead. I'm sorry. I think the world of him as a professional wrestler, whatever they're doing with him on television as a single is not working because these people did not give a shit. I'm sorry, they didn't. I guess everyone says it's cool, Kyle. I see that in the chat and I see the pictures.
I don't know what it means either.
It seems like the people much prefer Adam Cole, which I don't think was the intention, you know? That's the sort of turn, by the way, guys. I have to stress this again. The Undisputed Era turn is the kind of turn where you actually want heat. In fact, I remember we had a debate on our show about them doing the stretcher angle to get heat on Adam Cole. There's no heat on Adam Cole. Because no one watches television or cares about it. They just go, oh, we remember Adam Cole. We like him. We like Johnny Gargano. Diabolical. An absolute disaster. Not because it's a bad match. No, it's not a bad match. It's a good match. Every match on the show is fine. I don't think any of them are bad. It's a good show. If you wouldn't be rated, I'd say it's a 7, a 6, whatever. It's not that. It's the feel of the thing. It's the direction. It's the momentum. It's the whole identity. It's a mess. It's over, Joe. I don't know what I do. I do know, and here's the thing. We can get in the Regal stuff and Smash and all that stuff. Like, the Karrion Kross thing is a real problem. Because you're wild if you think the arena crowds, when they get back to their nose for TakeOver, is going to be any nicer to him. But, whatever.
Denise said last night, she's like, oh, they were talking about being, Karrion Kross being called up to the main roster and stuff. And she's like, oh, what if Karrion Kross comes out on the first SmackDown back in front of the live crowd? And I'm like, welcome back, fans. Here's Karrion Kross. Got a big pop from everybody in the chat. Dude, they protected him because... So here's what I was going to say about him. They clearly like his work, right? Because if they didn't, they just take the title off of him, right? Like, they like his presentation. They like something about him. What it is, I don't know. But they like something about him. But at the same time, they clearly know his limitations because they do stuff like this match where they take him out and then he does his little run wild spots and then taken out again, comes back, whatever. And they also do things on television where they have Adam Cole and all these guys just like completely bury him. Like just completely bury of like, yeah, dude, like you suck in the ring. These are what they're saying. This is what Adam Cole is saying on the mic. Like Adam Cole's eviscerating this dude on the mic. Think about that. Like Cole, like he's a fine promo, but he's like just shredding this dude on the mic. So like they clearly know there's something wrong with him. This is why I suggested, and Jack Crosby said it as well, but Jack Crosby's like for some reason an actual Karrion Kross fan because he's a lunatic. But like if you're gonna do this with this guy, just have him beat all 4 dudes. Like just if you want to make him this monster dude that is unbeatable, like just have him kill these 4 dudes. Like, that's it. Like, I don't need him ganging up to be taken out. Just run right through the top 4 guys. Are people going to like that? No. Like, are you going to get... But you're going to get, like, actual... Maybe you'll get go-away heat. But just go all the way with this guy instead of, oh, yeah. Because you're right when it comes to NXT. And I said this last night. Is like, people associate NXT as, like, the work rate brand. Right? Like, that's what it is. It's like, oh, the best wrestlers come through here. They have these great matches and stuff. It's like, Cross ain't that. Raquel isn't that either. So you've got to, what does Sean want? Hold on. Oh, God.
Hold on.
Oh, was it deleted?
What, Sam? Yes, no, I think you're correct. It's
Like it's the work rate brand, and so when you put the title on Karrion Kross, it's like, okay, we know he ain't the worker. You're even telling us he's not the worker by doing matches like this. And so people just don't like that stuff. I do think you can tell a story of like, hey, this is the work rate brand, and now here's Karrion Kross just running through all these indie dorks and, just squashing them, demolishing them. And then, once someone finally comes along and, captures the title and stuff, cool. Maybe there's a story to tell there. They ain't telling a story like that. They're just trying to continue to be the work rate brand. And then they're still just, they got the title on Karrion Kross. It sucks.
This show basically was a cold brand, a cold territory that had inexplicably put all of its most reliable guys in one match, therefore exposing its soft underbelly, that was also left without Finn Balor, who, all jokes aside, genuinely was papering over cracks for this brand because he was producing classics, and their creative didn't warrant it. But it was, like the matches he had with O'Reilly and Dunn were classics. And Finn was bringing such a unique style to the NXT title that to me, he'd give it something to hold on to. This was the opposite. It was like the most cliche NXT shit. But even without like the nuance or the substance, it was just... And I saw people being like, they told a story. Sure, man. Like, yeah, the story of like Cross's monster man who comes in and just beats everyone up. Like, sure, great. But... You're right. Like, they set up these guys in the promo said he can't go, and they basically did a match that proved he couldn't go with them. Like, look, I don't want to be dramatic or hyperbolic because I want to stress again. It's not like a bad show. Like, the wrestling is fine, but man, could it feel colder if they tried? Like, I mean, it's just lifeless. It's so boring. Nothing. It's like he has no heart or soul or any kind of. I don't know. It's like I don't want to. I feel like I'm biased or whatever, but it's just.
Somebody else mentioned it in the chat of like you have 4 heels, and I'm still not positive Karrion Kross is a heel. I think he is.
He's a babyface. He's a babyface.
See, that's 100%. What I think. Like I asked this to Denise last night. I was like, is he a heel or a face? And she's like, I'm pretty sure he's a heel. Like, I think he's a babyface. The fact that we can't tell is an issue. And people think he's a heel. We think he's a babyface. But like that's an issue right there. Let's say there you go. Cyclops is better than Logan. Said that. Let's say he's a heel because it seems like the majority of fans we're in the minority here, Joseph, of saying he's a babyface. Like it seems like everyone else.
He's a babyface.
I agree, but everyone thinks he's a heel.
But they just I'm not even doing a bit here, okay? People dislike him so much they've convinced us he's a heel, but he's definitely a babyface. Like he definitely is. The whole point of the match was he did the babyface. I'll fight all of you guys.
Yeah, that's what I think.
He said it to a heel, right? Like,
yeah. See, this is what I think, but everyone else is like, oh no, he's definitely a heel. He's definitely a heel. I'm with you. Venus Blue, you've never had a good opinion on anything, so you're wrong.
He fought Austin Theory. He fought Escobar. He's a babyface.
Yes. Thank you. People think he's a heel. Terrible.
It's so shit, man.
Terrible.
They conclude it with Regal. And
leave in the chat what you think Karrion Kross is, a heel or a babyface. See, look at this, Joseph. It's divided. It's divided. Anna Karana thinks he's a heel. Gurney Max says he's a face. Cyclops is better than Logan says he's a heel. He's a heel. Variable Null says heel. J Ben just says boring. Fair. Cracker Jack says tweener, a shitty face. J Ben says heel. See, like, it's divided, Joe. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
We're settling this shit right now. I'm going to his cage match and seeing who he's worked. Okay, listen. I know he was not like villainous in the Finn stuff.
I'm going to do a poll. I'm going to do a poll on Twitter.
Oh fuck. Okay.
I feel my followers are very smart.
Okay. Okay, Jeremy. Escobar, he did the match where he teamed with Finn. He beat only Lorcan, who's a heel. He had the Finn match, which again, as I said, I don't think he was villainous. He just had matches with Finn. Austin Theory is a heel. He doesn't really wrestle a lot because he's shit. He's saying that he attacked Priest. Oh, maybe he's a heel. Yeah, maybe he's a heel.
He tried to light Keith Lee on fire? Like, no one knows.
That was a year ago, though. I don't remember that.
Yeah, but they didn't. All right, I've tweeted this poll.
I don't know. I'm convinced he's a babyface, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, he was definitely a heel before the injury. I agree with that. Definitely. Mix of Undertaker and Triple H. Tremendous. What a wrestler that is. Samoa Joe's...
My point... Wait a second. My point of this is, like, so O'Reilly gets beat here, which doesn't make sense to me, because if he is the lone babyface in this match, like, it seems like you want to set up O'Reilly to take the title. Maybe they have somebody else to take the title. I don't know who they have in mind. But it seems like they had O'Reilly beat Cole. It seems like they were building him to be like, oh, yeah, this is the guy who's going to, okay, he's cool Kyle, like, you know, out of the ring, he's chill, laid back, he doesn't get spooked by all this goofy bullshit and everything and whatnot, right? But then in the ring, like, this dude's just a killer, right? Like, I can see that gimmick kind of working. That's not what they portray at all, but I'm just saying, like, you can kind of get away with that. But then O'Reilly just loses. It's like, huh? Why didn't Gargano lose? Gargano can lose and then do his wacky way stuff, and people are just like, ah, haha, Johnny, he's funny. Like, no one cares if he wins or loses. He's Johnny Gargano and shit. Next TakeOver, he'll have another great match, and people won't care. Like, they're not building to anything here.
I think it's Johnny. I think Johnny's going to wrestle Cross.
Why?
After all we've been through over the last 2 hours, do you think I haven't answered that question? I don't know, dude. I think they're going to do Cole and Riley, and they'll do Gargano and Cross, because Cross was doing stuff with the way, wasn't he? They haven't done that singles match. I think they'll do that. And they can rely on Gargano to, you know, play Shawn Michaels to his Sid or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Oh, it's terrible. Anyway, Samoa Joe's going to be the GM probably tomorrow night. Would you agree?
That's what it seems like, yes.
Look, I love Samoa Joe with all my heart. Even if he was wrestling, dude, he ain't the answer. They got problems here. They're going to have to start fresh in some way or another. There's a draft coming up. I'd really like to see them take advantage of that. But I just do not know. I do not know if they see it that way. It seems like they definitely don't. They're very stubborn. But to me, it feels like this was not a crisis. That's probably too much. Again, it's the wrestling matches were fine. It was alarm bells, though, the way that it was treated and the way that it came across. It just felt like such a cold, like, lifeless brand. So, I don't know. I don't know how you restart, but you need to do something, because this ain't it. This is a problem. You've got two champs that are, like, being developed for main roster hires. And that's not what this crowd wants. They want their own brand. You've got a bunch of guys that have been around forever, but they're the only over guys you have, so you can't really let go of them. Like, if you just got rid of Johnny, Ciampa, and Cole and put them on Raw or SmackDown, like, this brand would have even less viewers than it already has, because they're the only people the crowd likes. So, I don't know what you do. Like, they're in a rut, man. They're in a rut creatively. I don't know what the way out is, but Samoa Joe's GM is not going to change it, because William Regal was the least of this show's problems. You know, William Regal was great. So, I don't know, Jeremy. I don't know where we go from here. Bring back the glorious one with his dirty dog. Yeah, I mean, maybe. He was on my list of guys. I tried to compile a list of guys I'd like to see go down there, but, you know, I quickly realised that was a waste of everyone's time. God, even Louis Dangle doesn't know, Jeremy. If he's a heel or a babyface.
Louis Dangle doesn't know a lot of stuff.
Do we have anything else to talk about with this shit?
I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, I didn't really want to talk about any of this, but we did, so, you know. I don't know, Jeremy. I think I need to retire again. This wasn't fun for me, dude. I'm gonna be honest. This was not fun for me. This, in fact, was like actively boring in a way that I genuinely am not used to reviewing wrestling shows like this and getting so little pleasure out of matches that I thought were fine. And I'm a little bit worried about it, to be honest with you. And I don't have the chat can relate. I don't have the chat thinks I'm losing my mind. They probably are right. But I watched this show and I was bored.
We have 62 votes so far. 76% say he is a heel.
Okay. I just don't get how he could be conclusively a heel. Like, I just don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. I don't know. Who cares? Do you care? I don't care. Dynamite can't get... Yeah, I miss Dynamite.
It's Friday nights.
Yeah, but it's not the same. They're being cowards.
Fair.
Does anyone in here like wrestling?
I hope not.
I don't. Cyclops is better than Logan says, Joe sounds so defeated. I am. I actually intended to watch NXT again, and I watched this and was like, I'm never watching this show again. I don't know, guys. I generally feel that if nothing else, the takeovers are worth watching. And I want to stress again for the 100th time, it was not a bad wrestling show. That is not my concern. It was a fine, good wrestling show. But man, did it not move me. It actually felt like I was watching it purely to review it, which is a real chore that I try to avoid. So, I don't know, it just concerns me. Yeah, I agree, AEW went for the road, definitely. I won't be watching Raw Cyclops Ben. Like, I'm not a lunatic. TNA was a better show. Yeah, I agree with that. TNA also needs to get... It's hard for them, because when they get back on the road, and like by on the road I mean doing tapings, they can't do these specials really, because they'll all have spoilers and it will kill the drama. So that's not ideal. That's going to change the way they do things creatively. But at the same time, I do feel like they need to get in front of people, because like they've been in that setting for a long time now, man. It's hard. Maybe I am Cyclops Ben, but I don't think it was like a bad show, because I thought all the matches were fine and I liked a couple of them. I just find it all to be so uninspired and dull. And I think part of why it bums me out, to be honest with you guys, is like, I actually really once enjoyed NXT, and I reviewed it every week for Fightful, and it was like my favourite show of the modern shows. It still is. NXT 2015 through 2018 is probably my favourite modern wrestling show. And I watch it now and I'm just like, bro, I could never see these people again. That wouldn't bother me, you know? And some of them I really like. I just have no interest in ever seeing them do any... Like, it feels so stale. And it doesn't... Obviously, part of the issue is the guys that they are... The new people are people I don't care about, which is the problem, I think, you know? Like, Cross and Raquel not being appealing to me is the problem, probably, because they're the fresh faces. So, like, you're left in a predicament where it's like, you know, these are all objectively good wrestlers, but do I care? No. And again, I think the audience always tells the tale, man. Like, you go back through the history of pro wrestling, when a promotion's hot, more times than not, the crowd will tell you. And when it's cold, you can feel it. And ironically, Jeremy Lambert, this show very much had the feel of an in-your-house show. And by that I mean an ice-cold time in professional wrestling, where people are just sitting there watching matches.
Joseph.
The bummer.
I think, in the end, the crowd is to blame for being dead. They go online, they read the dirt sheets, they read the spoilers, and they ruin their own enjoyment. And if they don't like something, if they don't want to be at the Capitol Wrestling Center, they should just not show up. They should just not watch it, instead of, sit there and sit on their hands or complain and everything. I think it's the audience's fault of what happened. Honestly, that's what I think.
Maybe that's part of my disdain and my sadness today, folks, is just the idea that why have I even bothered yet? Why have I even bothered? And they think it was great. I couldn't give a shit what I think anyone thinks in this space. It's just we're giving them coverage they don't even want to have. I don't know why we do it. Not that they need the public. I mean, this show might need the publicity. I don't know if anyone knew it was happening. But it's like we're going in circles. It's a shame. Where does this TakeOver rank all time? Very low. But I saw people talking about London. Bro, listen. London might not have like great wrestling matches. Watch London and tell me it's not infinitely better than this. The crowd is going bananas for that show.
Denise said this was the worst TakeOver ever. I think she was a little bit just recency bias, but I also couldn't really argue against it. But I don't remember any of these TakeOvers either, so.
I think it's probably the worst since like the old. Some of those have there's Bull Dempsey versus Baron Corbin matches and shit. So NXT's got some. It's got some stuff in his past, but of the modern era, yeah, it's got to be one of the worst. I'm going to rewatch Double or Nothing to remind myself that good shit still happens. I feel that. When we reviewed that, I was very excited, guys. I'm not always this way, I promise. But I am rather downtrodden right now, folks. I must admit, the last couple of weeks of the distraction, we just spent an hour talking about how much we hate WWE, which was never my intention with the podcast. We're now doing an NXT podcast that I thought was a surefire, positive review. And instead it has come across like another therapy session, which is not ideal. Samoa Joe is apparently retired. Ember Moon is still not over in NXT. Alexa Bliss plays a clown assistant.
Speaking of, everybody go...
Can I just give one more, Jeremy, because this is the worst one of all. Jon Moxley is about to be replaced by Sami Callihan.
Okay.
Carry on.
Everyone can go on Cameo and buy Joseph and Alexa Bliss and Lily Cameo.
I swear, that would upset me.
Really?
If you got $600 sitting around, please do not spend it on that. Please, whatever you do. Okay? That money could go very many places that would not include a wrestling podcast. But if you're desperate to give it to a wrestling podcast, do not do it via Alexa Bliss Cameo, please. Outrageous.
I like your attentive reverse psychology, Joseph. I am just going to straight up ask and say, buy Joseph and Alexa Bliss Cameo featuring Lily. I feel like he would really enjoy that, and I think that it would cheer him up. I think this is what he needs in his life. Remember when we got, not me, but remember when the collective we got Robert O'Neill a Kevin Nash cameo? I feel like that's what we need for Joseph, an Alexa Bliss cameo to cheer him up in the same way.
Dude, she's doing it with Lily too. It's just disgusting. I wouldn't, I don't judge anyone's purchases and such, but I don't want to know these people. They seem dangerous. They're dangerous people. Everything's bad, guys. Everything is bad. I don't know where we go from here. I don't think I have any more wrestling talk left in me for the rest of 2021. I've been drained of all positivity, joy, and triumph from the glorious art form of professional wrestling. Against All Odds was pretty good. NXT was fine, I guess. I think that's it. I think we're done, Jeremy.
See, Northwood said everyone just pitch in $10. Just there you go. Get Joseph and Alexa Bliss cameo, everybody.
Oh dear, don't do that, please. There's probably someone on Cameo that would pop me without making me also feel desperately uncomfortable, like the Alexa Bliss one was. It's not.
Oh, a Sammy.
No.
How much is that?
Do not give him your money, please. Please no. Just not do that.
Is he on Cameo? Let's search this.
No, this is terrible. Of all the wrestlers I've publicly put over it, just be careful.
It doesn't appear as if Sami Callihan is on Cameo.
Thank goodness. By the way, I've got an update on your tweet. After 123 votes, 77% of people believe he's a heel.
See? I told you people think this dude is a heel.
Oh, Jesus wept. Jack Crosby said he's a goat.
Jack Crosby's an idiot.
Not true.
No,
he's not the one that's on Twitch reviewing 2 shitty shows I didn't care about. It wasn't shitty, it was good. it's been a while, man. I've been reviewing these empty arena shows for a while. There was a show in front of a crowd that felt more empty than the empty arena show. There was a match at Daly's place that sounded like it was like a funeral. It's tough weekend. Next week, we'll be back to review Hell in a Cell.
Oh, fuck.
Which will definitely be more fun than this. Like easily. The WWE pay-per-views are way better than both these shows, generally. And this one has Ray and Roman. This is going to be good, Jeremy. Backlash was great. I loved Backlash. Guys, I do like some wrestling. Believe it or not. I mean, the next My Match Monday is like a couple weeks away because we have to do this pay-per-view. We also probably should figure out when we're doing it. Oh, I have another announcement. Jeremy, we need to do BPW tomorrow. I can't do the Friday. I've got a party in England to plan. I can't do it.
Oh, we're doing BPW tomorrow? Okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. BPW tomorrow. Thursday we'll preview Hell in a Cell. And we will pay tribute to Samoa Joe after he takes that shitty job on that shitty show. Then we will fill the rest of our time trying not to be in a therapy session about wrestling. Your thoughts?
What are we doing?
We're just going to talk about wrestling. It's fun.
When? Can we not?
Thursday. We're going to do it Thursday.
That sucks.
I know, but this is what we do. These are the games we play.
All right.
This was shit.
All right, everybody.
Should we ban NXT?
Huh?
Should we ban NXT once and for all?
I tried this last year.
Let's just get rid of it.
I tried this last year.
Dude, just never again. I'm done. Until they do something that's interesting, I'm out. And Samoa Joe's GM is not what I'm talking about. Banned. NXT, you're out of here. I don't like it. I won't watch it.
We will raid Spencer Love, who is talking to Alex McCarthy. Everyone go in there and drop a fuck Alex McCarthy in the chat. All right? That's what we're going to do. Everyone enjoy your night. Don't watch Raw. I'll be in the chat there just to say fuck Alex McCarthy. Just think it'd be great if, we just all showed up and said that. Joseph, do you want to join in on this?
No.
Fair. I don't blame you. All right, everyone. Enjoy your night.